Use all the powers of this office to help advance efforts aimed at preventing more tragedies like this. We won't prevent them all, but that can't be an excuse not to try.
President Obama announces a new task force to develop ideas to reduce gun violence. We'll have all the details coming up. Plus,
to me, she's the most awesome mother I could ever have, and she brought me the most awesome siblings anyone could ever have.
Jenny Rivera's son talks about his mother in front of thousands of the singer's fans at a celebrity-filled memorial in Los Angeles. Good evening, and thanks for joining us on Local 4 News at 5:30. I'm Amber Downing. We'll have more on President Obama's speech on gun control, as well as the memorial in honor of Jenny Rivera in a moment. But first, the windy weather came through hard today, making it virtually impossible to navigate in some parts of El Paso. Wind speeds reached up to 45 miles an hour, quickly lifting up dirt and flapping signs in the wind. The video that you're seeing is from northeast El Paso, where some of the strongest winds may have been recorded. The National Weather Service forecasts anticipated high wind gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour. Las Cruces also saw its fair share of wind today. Visibility on some parts of the interstate was reduced to as little as 30 feet in areas of Doña Ana County. Most of the city was covered with dust as winds blew for much of the day. Strong gusts also made for chilly temperatures all afternoon. Our neighbors to the south were also dealing with strong winds. Weather officials in Juarez were expecting winds of up to 60 miles per hour. Firefighters were on high alert and responded to the several weather-related calls with minor damages. Well, it started early, and the gusts just kept going all day. Robert, I saw people out covering their faces with their hands and scarves and collars and just everything they could find to keep that dust out of their mouth.
Yes, as we've talked about all week, no way to put a pretty picture on today other than at this point it's starting to improve rapidly. The clouds are gone at this point, and now the winds still coming in from the northwest at about 10 to up to about 35 miles per hour will remain gusty for a few more hours. But the worst of it is done. We had a peak gust today at 62 miles per hour at the International Airport. Now as these winds slowly diminish in the night tonight, it leaves us clear and very cold. Low temperature about 26 at the airport, and tonight will be the warm night compared to tomorrow. Your full forecast coming up in just a little bit. Amber.
All right, thank you, Robert. Longtime New Mexico Speaker of the House, President Obama today announced a new task force to develop ideas to reduce gun violence by no later than next month. Vice President Biden will oversee the recommendations as Mr. Obama says the time has come for action, not just discussion on gun violence. Just 5 days after the Newtown elementary school shootings, the president says some gun restrictions, improved mental health services, and violence in popular culture would all be part of the effort to reduce mass shootings. He expressed support for some gun measures, including banning military-style assault weapons and expanding criminal background checks to include gun shows. People across the nation, including all of us here in the borderland, are devastated by the school shooting in Newtown, Connecticut last week. El Paso's Department of Public Health wants to remind everyone there are mental health resources available for families and children. Local 4's Kathy Hernandez is live with the story. Kathy?
Amber, today I talked to a local health professional who says after tragic events such as the one in Connecticut, it's important for people to recognize mental health issues in themselves and especially in their children.
This guy got in the school and he started shooting 6 and 7 years old.
8-year-old Savannah talks about the tragic events at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. Her mother told Savannah, her 6-year-old brother, and 11-year-old sister what happened after they asked why their schools in Sunland Park were put on lockdown Friday.
So I told my daughter, my kids, what had happened. I didn't go in detail, but I told her that something bad had happened in the school, that some crazy person, had shot some kids in the school, and that there's people who do, bad people who do bad stuff.
Martinez says she did it for their own safety.
It wasn't to scare them. It was more than for them to be aware of their surroundings, because sometimes they were not aware of their surroundings.
Mental health professionals say it's up to a parent to decide if and how they want to tell their kids about such tragic events.
A lot of the times mental health is overlooked by a lot of us, but even if we don't want to, it affects us. Events such as tragic events in Connecticut can have a devastating effect on anybody who's susceptible, especially children.
Dr. Ocaranza says parents need to be aware of what their children are exposed to.
I know there's a lot of coverage through the media about the recent events, so if they're little kids, please don't expose them to such a huge amount of information that they might not be able to understand.
And after telling your children, he says just listen to them and realize if they need professional help.
Acknowledge their emotions and just be there for them. It is very important that you explain to them with clear messages and to their level of understanding as far as what happened or what is it that they need, and provide that safe and the security that they're looking for.
Dr. Ocaranza says if you or a loved one needs help, there are many resources available free of charge that will help you cope and grieve with such a big loss.
Some of those resources include the Emergence Health Network Crisis Line. The number is 915-779-1800. You can also call 211 for information and referral to mental health resources. We posted a list of other resources on our website, kdbc.com. Amber?
All right, thank you, Kathy. Longtime New Mexico Speaker of the House Ben Lujan passed away yesterday. Lujan passed away surrounded by family after a 3-year battle with lung cancer. Lujan served as the Speaker of the House since 1975 and certainly left his mark on New Mexico politics. Even as recently as a week ago, Lujan had been participating in meetings over the phone in preparation for the upcoming legislative session. State Representative Joseph Cervantes recalls his colleagues' dedication to the job.
He was an exceptionally good political leader and very, very good at fighting for the people that he felt he was representing.
Cervantes says Lujan had a good sense of humor and brought levity to the House from time to time. Lujan was planning on retirement this year. The legislative session will open January 15th of next year. Let's take a quick look at your traffic, courtesy of our TxDOT traffic cameras, I-10 in Americas, where it's recently been opened up to traffic. A lot of those overpasses free-flowing now. Miss Las Cruces has resigned her title after she was charged with drunk driving after a crash Sunday night. Police arrested 22-year-old Sarah Richardson after allegedly crashing into a light pole on Hickory and Avenida de Mesilla. The crash took out a light pole and forced the closure of Avenida de Mesilla for most of Monday morning. In a statement released today, Richardson apologized for the incident and resigned her title, saying, quote, "My actions are not congruous with the actions of a Miss America candidate, and I realize that at this time I must step back and reflect, prioritize my life, and accept the consequences. I am very sincerely sorry for those that I have let down in this incident." First runner-up Taylor Ray will represent Las Cruces in the upcoming Miss New Mexico pageant, where she is eligible to win a $12,000 scholarship if crowned the winner. In the meantime, former ABC News correspondent and Texas Western alum Sam Donaldson is facing DUI charges. The 78-year-old was arrested on December 1st in Delaware. This is file video of Donaldson. Police have not released his mugshot. Donaldson was last in El Paso in October when he addressed students and staff at UTEP. One person is recovering tonight after he was stabbed at a Lower Valley bar. It happened at about 9:30 last night at the La Mirada bar on Alameda. Police say the victim was stabbed several times. That victim has not been identified, and there's no word on that person's condition. El Paso police are also investigating a burglary that happened at about 4 this morning on Fred Wilson. Witnesses say the side door at J&A Audio was damaged by the suspect or suspects who broke in and made off with an undisclosed amount of electronics. No arrests have been made. More than 100 pounds of marijuana are off of the streets tonight thanks to U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers. CBP officials say a man in a pickup was trying to enter the U.S. at the Presidio port of entry and seemed nervous during routine questioning. After searching his vehicle, a drug-sniffing dog alerted them to the gas tank where they found 2 large metal boxes. These boxes were filled with compressed marijuana valued at more than $100,000. The driver is from Mexico and was arrested. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, along with Homeland Security investigators, are looking for a suspected child pornography producer. Investigators only refer to the woman as Jane Doe. These are photos created by Homeland Security's Victim Identification Program. Investigators say she's accused of producing videos featuring herself having sex with a 4 to 5-year-old victim. She's described as a white woman, 23 to 29 years old, with brown hair and hazel eyes. She has a large mole on the back of her left thigh. Investigators first sent out a search warrant in August, and the first Jane Doe was arrested along with her husband soon after. But now they're trying to identify this woman. Thank you for joining us in Local 4 News at 5:30. We are just getting started. Still ahead.